Well, hello and welcome to week 2 of Caring for the Ministry Leader's Soul from Moody Bible Distance Learning. This is your fearless leader, Professor Jefferson. And I wanted to say a big thank you for week 1. We are well on our way. The discussion board went great. I'm going to get to grading here in just a minute, so I'm looking forward to reading that. And it's going to be a great 8 weeks. This is one of my favorite classes to teach. I think it's very important. I did not have a class like this in seminary, and I believe it should be required, not just for undergrad, but for seminary as well, and maybe even a refresher course every year for pastors that are in full-time ministry. Okay, this week we're going to be reading a book by Donald Whitney called The 10 Questions to Diagnose Your Spiritual Health, and what you're going to do is you're going to take a couple of hours and you're going to prayer walk, you're going to prayer journal. Now let me let you off the hook a little bit. If you cannot put 2 hours together, which I know some of you can't, do 2 questions a day. Just spend some time. But here's what I do want. You don't have to do the whole 2 hours together, but I would like you to do it somewhere that isn't normal. Okay? Not in your room, not at the church. Go to Starbucks. Go somewhere. Go to the woods. Go to a park. Just somewhere different, and walk through these questions. And I'm going to do it. I do it every time I teach this class. It's profitable for me every single time. And then on your discussion board, you're going to actually give us a couple of things that you learned from your time, and things that you that show maturity, that you see maturity in you, and things that you struggle with. And what's your strategy for that? Now, listen to me. Some of you are of the personality that you're going to give us like 15 goals that you're gonna do in the next 7 minutes. Okay? No, just one. Just give us one thing. What's the one thing you want God to work on your heart? What's the one thing that you can do? Okay, not 15 things, just one. I did want to share with you. Again, I am a licensed counselor. If you need to talk, I've already had a couple of students call. If you need to talk, if you are struggling with anything, let me know. I'd love to talk to you about that. Thank you for listening to my videos. And I sent one out about Tullian Tavitian and just kind of telling the rest of the story with Tullian, and just for us to guard our hearts. And I just wanted to leave you this week with a quote from a good friend of ours. His name is Steve Brown. He runs a ministry called Key Life Ministry, and he was a great friend of my mother-in-law's. And he says this: there are 2 things you don't want to see made: hot dogs and church. One might make you a vegetarian, the other one might make you a Buddhist. So, for those of us who have been inside the bubble, and we know how dark it can be, we know how Christians behaving badly, we've seen it, we've experienced it. Let me just give you a little bit of what's been kind of in my heart lately. That's all true, right? But 2,000 years later, the church still is moving forward, which to me shows it has to be supernatural. Because if it's just of man, 50 years into it, it would have imploded. We couldn't have held it that together. But 2,000 years later, the church is still growing. The church is still vibrant. The church is still God's plan. There's no plan B, right? So I want to encourage you with that. Giving your life for the ministry of the gospel, it doesn't always mean that you're going to be a pastor. I've got a great friend who works for Orkin, and he's more of a pastor than I've ever been. He pastors his employees. He's amazing. And I one time said, hey, I want to give you the opportunity of a lifetime. I want you to come on staff with us. I want you to be, And he just said, I said, to change the world. And he said, I am changing the world. So don't think that you have to be full-time ministry to change the world. There's a whole bunch of different ways that God could use you. Okay, now I'm just rambling. So the question of the week is this, and for those of you who have been in my class before, you know this is one of my favorite questions. If I gave you unlimited resources and you could buy front row tickets to any concert in the history of human beings, okay, all the way back, what's the one concert you would pick? Free front row tickets. Who would you see? Now, I know a lot of you are going to go all spiritual on me and talk about Wren Collective and talk about Michael W. Smith. I don't know. Yeah, okay, that's all good, but I'll share with you mine. I'd see the Doors in 1967 at the Whiskey. Okay, that's what I'd see. I would see maybe Janis Joplin. I got kind of obsessed with 60s music and read a whole bunch of biographies, but particularly the Doors. I would see that because that was a phenomenon. For the movie, my favorite movie last week, it's The Princess Bride. It is, As You Wish. And if I didn't want my man card taken away, I would tell you 13 going on 30, which I just love. But The Princess Bride is definitely my favorite. So that's it. If you need me, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any prayer requests, let me know. Onward and upwards.